Hello, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to come back today because I read a lot of books in November that kind of pissed me off. And I blame marketing for that. I blame advertising for that because they really did a number on me this month and I did not appreciate it. The month of November, I read a lot of ebooks, which is good because I have Kindle Unlimited, and you know, sometimes you be forgetting that you even have that. So I'm about to pull it up really quick. Go to my Goodreads and we're gonna pull up the books that we read for the month. So a series that I started in November that I regret is House of Vampires. So let me tell you how this came about. Basically, I was minding my business on IG. I'm not even on there really long. I like to just see a few people, like a few influencers I follow, and then I'm out, okay? And then I'm out. But then, you know, when you're in your stories and you're like swiping and an ad will come up, I saw one for this, okay? And let me know if you would be enticed too. It literally said Twilight, but for adults. And they made it, and they did like the little pepper things. So they made it seem like it was gonna be spicy and like truly for adults. No amateur shit, like no, like, you know, when you read books and it sounds like a 16-year-old would love that shit and would eat it up. Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna be like that, but it was. So the series was House of Vampires, and in November, so October I started the first one, and then in November I read books this month I started book 1, 2, and 3, okay? 1, 2, and 3 had me hooked. So let me tell you what it's basically about, okay? So it's about this girl. So, and this is why, this is how they played me, because I thought that, you know, I don't know. So it's about this girl whose grandmother passed away, and the main character's name is Lorena, and her grandmother left a small fortune to her, but the catch was that she had to go live in her grandmother's house for like 6 months or whatever. And she's like, oh, easy money, heard. And I think she also was able to get the house. And that was like her inheritance, but she had to go live in the house. And what threw me is, I want to point this out now, okay? When I read this book, tell me why this didn't carry throughout. Like, did she even get the inheritance? We'll never know. We will never know, okay? Because there was no follow-up with that. And that's how all over the place this series was. But anyway, so she finds out when she gets there that there was this like whole prophecy, and the prophecy was never fucking fulfilled, okay? At least in Harry Potter, they fulfilled the prophecy. It wasn't who we thought it was gonna be, but the prophecy was fulfilled, you feel me? And then this whole prophecy was that she was supposed to give birth to this baby who was going to bring magic back into the world, and it had to be from a vampire specifically. It had to be, the baby daddy had to be a vampire. Okay, so I started reading this book and I thought, okay, it's a quick read, this is going to be really, really good. It wasn't. The first book was good because I went to the second one, and only because it was only 100 and something pages. It wasn't that much. So I went to the next one thinking, okay, I'm gonna give it the benefit of a doubt. It was low page count. There's only so much you can say. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. But when I tell you, it felt like a 15-year-old wrote this. It felt like a 12-year-old would eat it up. I was like, what is going on here? What is going on? She keeps complaining because she doesn't want to fulfill the prophecy, because that's like the thing to being able to get the money. Aside from staying there for 6 months, she has to fulfill this prophecy. It's just so, like, and I don't think about it, it's just like ridiculous. So she then decides, oh, well, I don't want to be with any of these guys, but fine, I'll go move in with them in their big mansion. And then they're like all fighting for her attention. And I think what pissed me off about it was there's like all of these, they're not really brothers, not by blood or anything, but by loyalty, I guess you could say. And they're all fighting for her because they want to be the vampire that brought this new life into the world that brings magic back, because a lot of magical creatures are no longer in this world today. And like, as I'm explaining it, I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. No shade to the author, this is just my personal opinion. I'm just like, good lord. And then she falls for one guy, and they're like, They, you know, they're button heads. And I love an enemies to lovers story, okay? I was eating this shit up. But then it turns out she doesn't even like him. And then as you go on to book 2, you go on to book 3, you find out that this girl never even liked them. She never even, she can't choose one person. And I get it. Some people fall in love with more than one person, but later on down the line, the same shit starts to happen over and over. And then this girl starts to love all of them. What? And then one of the guys is in love with the other brother that she doesn't like. He's like, he don't fuck with her at all. And he was at first, but it was for clout. Like, he didn't really like her. So he loves the brother. They're not real brothers though. They're like just friends. I'm just gonna say that. 2 of the friends like each other. 2 of the brothers start to fall in love with each other, and you think it's gonna be a thing, but like one of the brothers, he doesn't know, I guess he doesn't know that side of himself. He doesn't know if he likes men or not, whatever, okay. But later on, as you're going on to the series, like, she starts to understand that, and she's like, oh no, but you guys are in love, like, and she lets it go, and she becomes best friends with one of the guys, right? But later on, she also tries to like just have sex with that guy all the time. And I'm just like, okay, granted, like, they try to say, oh, she wasn't, like, her body wasn't being controlled by anyone, her mind wasn't being controlled by anyone 100% of the time, but 100% of the time she was trying to fall in love with this guy. And I'm just like, okay, for me personally, I can't deal with a book where it's giving high school emotionally. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, if you know that they're in love and that's your best friend, why aren't you acting like a best friend? And she couldn't decide who she was actually in love with. She couldn't sit down for 1 minute to like figure that the fuck out before she tries to go out here and save the world. So that kind of bothered me, and I will DNF this series. I can't read it because I'm like, this is just more childish than I'm willing to put up with. But I'm just so annoyed because I went through 3 books, which I think is an equivalent of one book, like, honestly, because they're only like 100-ish pages each. But I just don't recommend the series to anyone unless you're a teenager and you're like, oh, I love Twilight and I want to read something that's like this. So basically the point I was trying to get at with that series is, if you're a early teen, then this will be the perfect series for you. But me mentally, like, I love toxic stuff. I love having options, you know. I like it when I don't know which guy she likes. But when it comes to 4 and then they started adding on even more people to her list, I was just like, this is too much. Because now I don't think you're in love with any of these bitches. Now it's just like, what are we doing? I want to ship you with someone, but like everything feels fake. And I know it's just a book, but you know how like you can believe stuff, you know, when you're reading. Like, you have to write it to where I can believe it. And I couldn't believe that she gave a shit about any of those men. It was just getting to be too much. So I can't finish the series. There's like 7 or 8 of them. You know, I can't finish it. I'm so sorry. I refuse. Okay, so the next one that I read for the month of November was Heart on Fire. So I had to finish out this series, and so the last one had me stressed because the second book in this trilogy, they ended where the main character was, okay, let me just stop there. Let me just tell you what the daggum series is about. So this book is basically about this girl named Kat, and she was working in like a circus before, and she was basically in hiding. She's very powerful. She has magical powers, and this whole series started out as a enemies to lovers kind of thing, and then he like kind of captured her because he needed her in order to take over a certain piece of land, and he was going to use her, but low-key he didn't know she was magical. Like, he knew she had something about her, like he knew she had to have some kind of power because she just hit different, but he didn't really know like the complexity of it all. And they fall in love, and then they start going on this journey, and then it just becomes this trilogy of her trying to become queen. Both of them become royalty and rule this country or this world and lead them into like this new perfect like magical world. Okay, because so far it's been split up and led by people who are just, you know, not doing a good job and they thought they can do a better job. And the gods have been working on her side and all of that. So that's like a quick download of this whole series. It's fucking amazing. The tension in book 1, I feel like book 1, I give book 1 5-star. A strong 5-star, because it is so good. It's actually one of my favorite books and made me think to look into Amanda Boucher's other works because it was just so good. I was glued to it. I finished it in like a day. Now, this third one, it started out where it ended with a pregnancy trope, and I don't like pregnancy tropes. I find them to be so stressful, especially in fantasy books, because in most fantasy books, somebody is fighting somebody. Like they're in some kind of a battle or in a journey to start a battle, you know what I mean? And in the second book in this series, it ended with her, Kat, the main character, her and Griffin, who is the male lead in this, it ended with her finding out she was pregnant after they realized, oh, now we gotta have to go fight your mom. And her mom is ruthless. She don't care about her. She will like slit her throat at the bat of a hat, okay, at the blink of an eye, okay? She will not second guess taking her daughter out this world. So I was stressed. I was like, I cannot read this third book. I cannot, and I refuse. It ended well. It just pissed me off, the ending, but in a good way. So I gave this one a 4.5 star because it was amazing, but I had to knock down half a point because she was pregnant. Stuff was like popping off with the baby, and I'm like, oh my God, is the baby okay? And then also she was pregnant, so like some of the spicy scenes, I was like skipping over it. I know. I just couldn't read it. I was just like, because the baby is apparently conscious, like aware. And I was just like, why did we do that? Why did we think we should do that? So the one thing about this book that I was like pissed off about and made a whole TikTok about is the ending of it. So they end up doing the battle between her and her mom. It was inevitable. One of them was gonna die. And she ends up fighting her mom, but her mom ends up just killing herself. And she basically spared her mom because she had the opportunity to kill her mom, but she chose not to. And I find that to be so anticlimactic. Like, how could you not?
I don't know how to respond to that.
Okay. I don't remember asking him anything, but thanks, boo. Okay. Where was I? Yeah, so she didn't kill her mom, and her mom ended up killing herself, and then somehow she this whole time wanted to be good and just didn't know how to get out of her spiral of toxicity. Really? You've been trying to kill your daughter this whole trilogy. This whole fucking trilogy. And she like captured people that meant the most to Kat, and they were starved, beaten, like everything, just to get to the point where you could kill your own daughter. Are you kidding me? And like to manipulate her. But you didn't want to kill her, and I think it would have been a 5-star for me if she killed her mom. If she finally gained the strength to kill her mom. Because sometimes as a leader, you have to do things you don't want to do. But you want to go to a whole battle in front of all of these people, like we're at the Olympics back in 28 BC or whatever the fuck it happened, and you want to kill everybody and their mama. But you can't kill your mom, who did not raise you, has no maternal bone in her body. Y'all don't have a relationship where you would feel guilty about it. Like, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. And I want to rewrite. But yeah, those are the books that I read this month of November. I'm telling you, like the first part of this November, like I really wasted my time. I really fucking did. And then what saved it was Heart on Fire by Amanda Boucher. This really sealed the deal for me and brought me back to reality, because those other books were not it. However, if you want to read them, they're on Kindle Unlimited. So it's not like you're wasting your time, like your money at least. So I didn't technically pay for all of those, but I did because I paid monthly membership. But you know what I'm trying to say. Those are all the books that I read this November, and I hope you check out some of them. I'm actually curious to see who would actually read those books, because I want to know if you actually like it, because I did not. I could not. But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.